welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about efforts at the state capitol to deal with the University of California and its out-of-state students. My guest this segment is Bob Huff, a member of the state Senate from San Dimas. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you again, Steve.
So, as many people know, the auditor came out with a scathing report, really, on the university's efforts to attract more out-of-state students because tuition is higher and they could use the money.
Yeah, you would think a university with California in its name that's funded partially by taxpayers would be seeking California students first, but over the last 5 or 6 years it has shifted, and that's what the state auditor was looking at and found particularly egregious.
And I guess the real problem is that at one time the university, primarily Berkeley and Los Angeles, were attracting about 5% out-of-state students, and lately it's been 15%.
Yeah, during the recession, some difficult decisions had to be made. The state wasn't able to put the amount of funding in that we used to. So in that time frame, around 2008 or 9, the universities actually doubled their fees, but then they started courting these out-of-state students because they get $24,000 per year more with these out-of-state or out-of-country students than they do the California students.
The university says that the reason they do this is because they get shortchanged by the legislature and the governor, and they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and I say that's a little bit bogus. They have complete control over their budget, and they have an obligation to the taxpayers of California, who are still paying between 40 and 50% of the student tuition, to make sure those California students are taken care of first. It's our tax dollars. Now, if they want to become an independent university, that's a discussion we could have. But as long as they're publicly funded, it should be California students first.
So there are a number of pieces of legislation at the Capitol that are punitive in nature. One would actually tie the budget to the amount of out-of-state students that they attract. You have a measure, a constitutional amendment that is not as punitive, but why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so SCA 12, and that stands for Senate Constitutional Amendment 12, would just say that by the way, the Constitution right now talks about the regents. It doesn't say anything about California students. So it would, in effect, say that, we should give priority to California students. So it's not earth-shattering. It's a concept people thought were in place already. And in fact, the university's website says they give priority to California students first, but the state auditor, who peeled back the drapes there and saw what was going on, said, no, that's not the case.
So what would be the consequences should SCA, was it 12? Should that pass and then be approved by the voters?
I would say consequences is probably the wrong term. The benefits would be we'd have more California students in our university, so they don't have to trot off to other states where they're often paying out-of-state tuition. It's a deal that, the UC system is a great system, and we need to do better to keep our own people here, because when they get educated here, they're more likely to stay here as well.
Would you agree that all this legislation, even if it doesn't pass, dealing with the university has basically gotten their attention, because they are now saying that they are voluntarily keeping a lid on outside students?
Yeah, I would say from the conversations in my office when they visited, from the dais and from testimony in the committees, yes, their attention has been garnered. They don't want the legislature trying to micromanage or tell them what to do, so hopefully they will act on their own, but absent that, we do have legislation pending.
All right. Well, Senator Huff, thank you very much for coming by and talking about this very hot issue. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this and other interviews on YouTube, My Government on Demand, and the California channel. I'm Steve Swatt.